Hello guys, today I will explaining chapter 14 of Reality Quest. So now without wasting any more time, let's begin. Due to Doan's attack, Xiong gets knocked out and falls to the ground, and he becomes unconscious here, where Doan comes to his senses and says, I think I told you before, my head is as strong as a stone. Anyway, Doan's quest is completed here, and as a reward, he gets a bunch of keys, one of which is a golden key and 2 bronze keys. Doan picks up those keys and says, really, this fight was the most exhausting. But then he feels something, and then he notices that he has only 4 HP points left. And Doan remembers that in a similar way, he fell unconscious in karaoke. And Doan knows one thing, that if he accidentally falls unconscious here, then when this guy gets up, he doesn't know what to do with him. And that's when Doan uses a bronze key to increase his HP. And he falls to the ground and says, finally, I saved myself. Anyway, I don't think I have any other choice now, so I should also use the remaining keys, right? Where Doan first uses the golden key, and in return for using the golden key, Doan gets a skill, which is called Multi-Strike Destruction, and this is the same skill with which he broke Calvo, and the mana requirement for this skill is 200 points. Doan is very happy and says, I was wondering when I would get this skill again, and he uses the last remaining bronze key to increase his mana points by 100. Doan stands up and says, finally, it's all over. If it wasn't for that octopus, my job was done. Anyway, I don't think I'll ever be able to eat that octopus, so I should make that octopus my pet. After all, where is he? And that's when he sees a cat, which is running away with the octopus. Doan runs after that cat to save the octopus, but unfortunately, he can't do that. And after that, we see the scene at Doan's house, where he has a funeral in memory of the octopus. And apologizing to Arian in his mind, he says, forgive me, I couldn't save the octopus. But that's when his mom calls, and while talking, Doan tells him all this. How was my first day at school? Today I thought I was going to die, and many more. But that's when Doan's mom says, the day your father passed away, that day is next week, so don't miss his death anniversary. And when Doan hears all this, he is looking at his family photo, in which his dad is also there. And after that, Doan gets up from his place and says, come on, should eat something now. And after that, the scene shifts. We see a scene of an incomplete building, where a man is sitting with a tool, and says, okay, our hot-blooded Scion, what did he do? He fought with the representative of Burma, and beat him very badly. Hey, I've told you before, that you shouldn't create any kind of problem. And this guy, his name is Baek Changzi, and he is the number 2 of the Bangchan region, and he has tied up a man in front of him, and that man is none other than Scion Yu. And this guy shouts again and says, you know that our representative will kill us if he finds out that we lost to Burma Dom. I hate such weak examples, who cause unnecessary trouble. We kept you just because your dad left you. You don't think you should have been thankful to us? And what is this sandbag? Do you still think you are part of the track team? And that's when this vice representative, he tells a man standing next to him, I'm giving you this job. Bring that monkey named Doan to me as soon as possible. And after that, we see the scene of Doan's school, where Doan is in school, and is watching Scion, but he wouldn't have come to school. And that's when Zian, who is sitting behind Doan, he says, Scion never missed his school. Do you think something happened? Doan says, yes, maybe he's sick. But on the other side, he's thinking in his mind, I wish that donkey never came back. But that's when the classroom gate opens, and a boy says in fear, Doan, some boys have entered the school, and I don't know why, but they're looking for you. And before that, he could say something else. There's a voice coming from behind. We found him. If I'm not wrong, this is class 3, right? And then that short-haired guy comes to Doan, and he says, Representative Doan, we've never met before, but maybe you don't know, but you'll have to come with us. And here Doan is thinking in his mind, my 18-year-old loser instinct is telling me, that if I go with them, I'm not going to survive today. Doan politely tells him, what if I don't want to go? But then this short-haired guy says, if that's the case, we'll forcefully drag you out of here. And if you really think so, that you can stand in front of us. So what do you think? Will you be able to handle 10 of us alone? And while saying this, we see Doan and Zihan, both of whom have been caught. Doan doesn't understand anything here, what to do. But then the gate of this classroom opens again, and a guy comes in and says, after all, what are Bong Chion's dogs doing here? And we see that there is no one else. This is the representative of Slim Dong, Yunxiang Han. But suddenly a guy is trying to get fat on Yunxiang, but Yanxiang very next moment, he spins him like a wheel in the air. And just by doing this to Yanxiang, this guy literally has a broken leg. He holds his feet and lies on the ground. But then, Yanxiang says, "You guys can't take Dowan from here. And if you still think so, then I want to ask you a question. Do you think you can handle me? That too only with these 10 people. And bro, hear this panel of Yanxiang Han. Absolutely 10 out of 10 no doubt. And after this, we see Dowan, who is saying, is it really possible to do so much damage with just one kick? But then a guy comes charging at Yanxiang and says, you are a bastard. But after taking a single punch from Yanxiang, this guy's jaw breaks. And then another guy comes from behind, who tries to hit Yanxiang with a chair. But Yanxiang dodges it very easily, and coming behind this guy, he hits a spinning kick, as if this guy's world changes. And Yanxiang stands here and moves forward towards the third guy. He says, don't come near me. And then a guy comes from behind and says, he's telling you not to go near him, only until you don't want to die. And we see here that Yanxiang is surrounded by 2 guys. And they both charge at Yanxiang together. But Yanxiang also dodges their combo attacks very easily. And this guy is literally standing on a table with one hand. And Yanxiang comes down and hits them both so hard that their heads stick to the ground. And then Yanxiang stands up and says, I don't like this. Do one thing, all of you attack me at the same time. And Yanxiang says so much that all the guys here charge at Yanxiang at the same time. But in the very next scene, Yanxiang doesn't even move from his place. But out of these examples, each guy starts colliding in different places. Someone is falling on the blackboard, someone on Almira, someone on the tables, and in many places. And seeing all this, Dowan and Xian have lost their minds. They don't understand that someone can fight like this. And Dowan is thinking in his mind, that's why Xian told me not to mess with this guy. After all, he is the most powerful in the Iljan gang. And after this, we are shown the classroom scene from the top, where we see that Yanxiang has finished the job of these 9 guys as soon as he blinked. And that's when the leader of these guys tries to get into a fighting position. But before that, he can also move his finger. Yanxiang comes in front of his face. And Yanxiang stops his punch coming right next to his throat. And he says, now you are the last one. So now it is your responsibility to pick up these 9 jokers and get out of here as soon as possible. But then this short-haired guy says, Yanxiang, do you think you can escape by doing all this? What you have just done, Bangkan will take his account from you. But Yanxiang doesn't answer him. He says, Dowan, come on, let's go to the snack bar. And after this, the scene shifts. We see Dowan and Yanxiang. Dowan stands next to him and says, thank you for helping me. But then Yanxiang says, don't worry, you've said it before, we're on the same side, right? But then Yanxiang comes up to his face and says, what's the reason behind this? And seeing this, Dowan is totally scared. He coughs and says, what the hell are you asking? Then Yanxiang says, it's pretty simple. First you were dealing with the bullies one by one, and then you go and become a representative of the bully council. And you don't just stop here. After that, you go and mess with Xiong, who was an important member of the Bangkan region. So here I have to ask, why are you in so much trouble? And then Dowan makes some balance and says, I have to stay calm. He should give such an answer that he wants to hear. And then Dowan tries to do some aura farming. He says, I'm doing this because I'm a bully hunter. And then we see Yanxiang's face. He doesn't understand anything for an hour. What the hell is he talking about? He gives his juice packet to Dowan and says, okay, fine, I think it's pretty funny. Then I would like to wish you all the best for your work. And then we see the scene of Saturday, where we see Dowan, who is sitting on a gaming chair. And we find out that this guy has come to a PC cafe, where he can play games all day now. Because now he has neither got any quest nor is he behind the bullies. But then we see 2 kids who are sitting next to Dowan, and they are talking to each other. That one of them has just started playing games, and he has collected a lot of rare items here. And after hearing all this, Dowan also feels nostalgic. He was remembering his childhood. Anyway, in the scene after a while, we see that both the kids go to the washroom. And then someone comes in front of Dowan and says, here is the ramen you ordered. And as soon as we see, there is no one else. This is Aaron. And Dowan looks at her and asks, do you work here? And Aaron says, no, I don't work here. In fact, my dad is the owner here, so I just help him sometimes. And Dowan hears this and says, wow, that's awesome. His father runs a PC cafe. Anyway, as a game addict, I can say now I can be a perfect son-in-law for his father. But then we see that Aaron remembers something. She runs away and Dowan tries to stop her, but she doesn't listen to anything. But then we see that some boys have come next to Dowan, and they go and sit in the same seat where those kids were sitting, although they keep saying, hurry up, before those kids come back. And then we see that the boys have gone from here. But those kids who have come back from the washroom, they are shocked to see all this, that all their items have disappeared from their IDs. And seeing all this, the kids are very sad, and this is what they are asking Aaron. When these people went to the washroom, what happened here? But Dowan, who was already standing here, he had understood that the boy who came here, he must have stolen their items. And then this boy holds Dowan's shirt and cries and says, "Big brother, help me, please." And then what happened? A system window pops up in front of Dowan, on which it is written, "Wipe out all the bastards." And the targets of Dowan here are 4 people in total. And the reward you will get in return for completing this quest, that is a silver key. Dowan is just standing here and saying, "Brother, how do I defeat 4 people now? I wish I had taken the phone number of Yun Xiong that day." But then another window pops up in front of him, on which it is written, "If you complete the quest, you will also get a hidden reward." And then the scene shifts to those 4 boys, who are standing and having a lot of fun, and they are talking about this. How did they steal the items of those children? But then one of these 4 people, a very hard attack hits the head, and this attack is so powerful, that the man literally falls to the ground. And when these 3 people are standing behind, so behind them is Dowan, in front of whom a system window had popped up. It was written hidden reward, a date with Aaron. And Dowan is saying here, come on, it's time to teach you a lesson. And on this interesting note, our chapter number 15 ends. And I hope so. You must have enjoyed chapter number 15, and if it really is, then I would like to tell my genuine audience, like, share and subscribe, and it is most important to give a high point. So now let's meet in our next video. Until then, goodbye brothers.